Hello everyone, it's Leonette. Welcome back to DIY Beauty on Purpose. Today I am bringing you tons of inspiration from this last few weeks of a lot of farmhouse DIYs, some farmhouse winter, but overall some very cute ones. So let's get started. So this wreath form I got there, it was $3 and it's wooden and it has that beautiful planked look. I did move the claw hook to the other side as you saw because I wanted the planks to be sideways instead of up and down. So now I'm going to take this Dollar General ornament. It's a snowflake wooden ornament and it's beautiful, but I'm going to remove the piece and all the decor from it. I'm going to sand it down smooth as well because I want to give it 2 coats, or not, I just give it 1 coat. 1 coat of Rust-Oleum chalk paint and the linen white. And that's because I'm going to place it right in the center of that wreath form. I just thought it would be so beautiful for winter. You know, keep that in mind when you have decor, when you're pulling them down. Keep in mind what can you keep that can go right into winter by adding maybe a couple things here and there. So once again, I'm just going to give it 1 coat and let it fully dry. Now I'm going to place the ornament, like I said, right in the center of that wreath form. I'm going to use the little jute twine that came with it, and I'm going to attach it on the back of it. That way it's hanging, and I'm just going to staple it in place. I'm going to add some lamb's ear to the top. I'm just going to create a little swag for the top of the wreath form. I love lamb's ear, especially for winter, because it just has that natural frosted look. And I do love the greenery, so I'm just going to add a couple here. I got these at Walmart. And I'm just going to, I stapled the first one, but the second one wasn't stapling, so I'm just going to hot glue them in place. And then I'm going to add a couple things, a pine cone, a little cotton stem, and just some stick, what are they called? I think they're called kitten tails or cat tails that came on the same pick as the cotton stem. And I'm just going to hot glue them in place. That way it just adds a little bit more fullness and just some different tones and textures. And then to finalize things, I did take some burlap ribbon from burlapfabric.com. I'm going to have their link down in the description box. They have beautiful burlap ribbons and burlap everything. I'm going to make a very simple bow, and I'm just going to hot glue it right above the little swag there. And that's it, guys. This was such an easy one. And again, such a beautiful little wreath to put over your fireplace, over anywhere, really. It just turned out so cute. All right, so for this next DIY, I'm going to take this Target dollar spot tree. Isn't it beautiful just the way it is? But it was just missing a little something, so I'm not going to do much to it. I will take some of that same chalk paint from Rust-Oleum and the linen white, and I'm going to trim or just kind of add a little bit of what it would look like snow or frost that it's been falling on this tree, just to kind of give it more of a wintry look. I'm going to focus on the edges. At first, I was just going to do very little, and then you're going to see that I start adding a little bit more. Sometimes I add little and then add as I go. That way I know for sure is what I want to see on the items. And that's just what I'm going to do to the actual tree portion of it. So I just got that heat gun, guys, and I love it. I saw Heidi Sambo use one, and I was like, that is so smart because, you know, sometimes it just takes forever for something to dry. So I do have it in my Amazon store. I have all my tools, my scissors, everything that I use, or most things that I use on my Amazon store, and it is linked down in the description box. All right, so this is a Dollar Tree dusting mop, and I'm just going to place it. I'm going to cut a piece to fit the front and the back of the tree. I just want it to look like it's sitting in a bed of snow. And I do want it to overlap over the edges. So I made sure that it has about an inch just overflowing kind of thing. And I'm going to add hot glue and attach it that way. Again, one to the front and one to the back. And I did trim the back one just a little bit so that it matches the form of the front one. It has that natural like circle look, and I really like that, so I just wanted to keep the same form. All right, so moving along, I'm just going to add a couple of picks here. This large pick, it's a frosted berry pick I got during when I was purchasing everything for Christmas for decor and DIYs at the Dollar General, and I just thought these would be perfect for winter, so I grabbed a couple of them, and I'm just going to add a couple small ones to the front of the tree. I just thought it needed a little something to it, so I'm just going to hot glue a couple on each, kind of like on each side on the front, and that's it for this one. Another beautiful, and how easy was this? Seriously. I mean, the tree was beautiful as is, but I think adding just a little bit more to it just took it to the next level. And it's so easy for just $3 and some change with the extra little things we added. It's just adds so much character, and I think it would be perfect for any winter decor. Alright guys, so for this next DIY, I am going to take this piece of leftover paneling. I cut it to about 23.5 inches. That's because I was eyeing it out, but it could have been 24 inches. I don't know why it was 23.5, but I measured it, ended up being 23.5. And I'm just going to give it one coat of Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white. And then, of course, use my heat gun to dry it.
Get away from every little thing just to try to make it through.
Alright, so now these letters I got at the Target dollar spot. They're $1 each, and aren't they beautiful? They're just beautiful as is, but of course they can be painted, they can be distressed, whatever you want. They're wooden, they're beautiful. So I'm going to spell the word home. Obviously I am missing the O, but that's coming. I'm going to do the same technique to these letters that I did with the little tree earlier. I'm just going to add some snow-like with effect, I guess, with paint. This one I'm going to add a little bit heavier, so almost like it's just coming down a little heavier in the snow. And then I was going to do it just on the top, and then I decided to do it anywhere where snow would accumulate. So anywhere where there's a flat horizontal surface, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
I've been thinking about my options, every detail in my head, but it doesn't really matter, nothing matters, so I cry instead. I've been running circles, trying to catch my breath. I've been trying everything I can, but I ain't got nothing left.
Alright, so now I'm going to take this Dollar Tree ornament. It's a snowflake one. I'm going to remove part of the snowflake on the back. That's because I want this to lay flat on the board. So I'm just going to keep the front one just like this. So I'm going to hot glue it all together in a minute, but I'm going to remove the little, like the little pick that was there holding everything together. and I'm just going to start hot gluing them in layers. I did remove the little rhinestone because I just didn't, it had a little bit of a glam look, and that's not the look that I was looking for. So I just removed it, and we will add a couple little pine cones and a little tiny evergreen pick just to add a little color and texture. But that's it for the snowflake on this one.
I've been staring at the ceiling. I've been staying up all night. Everything I ever worked for vanished in the blink of an eye.
So now it's time to put everything together on the board. So simple, of course. You just kind of, if you want to measure, you can. I like to eye things out. I get in trouble sometimes and I mess things up, but most often they turn out okay. I'm just gonna hot glue them. They're not heavy, so hot glue should be fine. So I'm just gonna again eye them out and hot glue them together, and that's it. I mean, I thought about adding maybe a jute rope or jute twine to the top so that it can be hung, but I'm not sure where I'm placing it. So before I drill any holes, I wanted to wait. But that is definitely an option if you want to recreate that. And if you don't have a board like this one, you can certainly use foam board. I think that would be beautiful, and you wouldn't even tell that it's foam board.
You say, take me on a treasure hunt. I long for something new. Have you heard the fairies when they sing and dance? Oh, I wish it was me every night. When I close my eyes, I see beauty lives in me. I know I don't yet know it, so I trust you when you say that beauty lives in me too.
So I'm going to start with these scones that I'm going to make for the wall. These are just a 2x4 that I had in my garage. The two larger ones were already that size, so they must have come from something that I did, that they both ended up being the same size, but I didn't even have to cut them. And then the other two, I cut them to measure the same width of the 2x4, which is actually like a 3.5. So those are 3.5 by 3.5. I'm just sanding them down very lightly using my sander. That way they're just smooth and no splinters anywhere. I dusted them, and now I'm going to give them just one coat of Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white. The reason why I only give them one coat is because I will be distressing them pretty heavily. So I am using a 220 grit sandpaper, and I'm just going to go over all the sides that I painted. That way they just have a nice distressed farmhouse style to them. I am going to use my Craig jig here. This is just a tool that my husband actually got, and I've been using it more than him. I'm just going to make 2 pocket holes on each of the smaller ones. Now on this one that I'm doing here, I messed up and I drilled the holes just the wrong way, but it was no big deal. I just had to flip it and drill a couple other ones. It was no big deal, but I wanted the rounder, smoother edge to face the front, so that's why I had to redo him. So once I had him done, so you can see there that I had to redo him, I'm just going to place him. I'm measuring, I believe it's 2.5 inches from the bottom, and that way I can mark, and both of them will be evenly measured. And I'm just going to screw them in with using pocket hole screws. These are 2.5 inches long, which is the appropriate size for this 2x4 size piece of wood. And yes, that is my head. I had to put a lot of oomph on there to get these screws to go in, and because my workbench is a little high, I had to like really get on there, so I apologize for my big old head there on the screen. All right, so I'm just going to add a couple, well, one on each claw hook to the back. That way I can hang them on the wall nicely and secure. And that's it, guys. So what I did was I grabbed two Dollar Tree little, like little mason jar kind of mugs. They're just tiny and cute. And I added some boxwood greenery that I got on Amazon right on there. You can put candles too, but I didn't have a candle that would fit it appropriately. So I think the greenery looked perfect. Just perfect for really any season because you can just change the greenery. And I think for winter is perfect as well. Right, so for my next DIY, I'm going to use this Dollar General tag. I got these a couple of years back. It was at the end of the fall season, and I got them for like 75 cents. It was the craziest thing. I still have so many of them. They all had different letters on the pumpkin. This one has the H, so I'm just going to remove that using my heat gun, just to kind of make sure that any glue would kind of loosen up, but it wasn't working, guys. So I ended up just having to really just use muscle, and then I used my sander too to just get it nice and smooth.
Heading back to what used to be home, passing by those little towns I know so well, stopping for gas and then I'm behind the wheel again.
All right, so then now that the back side is nice and smooth, I am going to flip it over because I will be using the inside of the tag. It's almost like a little box there, and I'm going to use these tongue suppressants that you can get at the Dollar Tree, and I am going to put them inside the box because I want to make sure that as I glue them so that they can fit inside the box. And I'm going to create a snowflake out of these.
Driving is like a spiritual cleanse where every mile is a new beginning and every bend holds a new end. Eyes on the road, don't lose control. I'm speeding fast to chase my soul. I'm driving to get away, running through emotions high and low, holding on or letting go. I'm fighting another day. Neon lights in the fast lane life, riding high, reaching for the sky. I had it all but lost and fell back down again. Spent my time playing the game where every single day was a losing battle and every drink was a dead end.
Once I had everything glued, now I'm going to give it 2 coats of Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white.
Eyes on the goal, don't lose control. I'm living fast, I've lost my soul. I'm driving to get away, running through emotions high and low, holding on or letting go. I'm fighting another day.
And then after everything was dry, I am now going to hot glue it right inside the box. Now, the key here is that I'm just going to put glue on the one that actually touches the box. Not all of them do, but it's so light that it doesn't matter. It's not going anywhere. Now, I just recently did another DIY that I used one of those ornaments that was like from the Dollar Tree. It's like a little snowflake. I removed the back side, and this is what I had left over. And I'm going to use some because I just think it is perfect for the snowflake. Just the perfect addition to add a little bit of like a 3D effect. So I'm just going to hot glue each part right on top. I decided that I needed a little bit more of just a detail, so I'm going to add these frosted evergreen picks that I got several, oh gosh, maybe a couple years ago. I still have some left over, and I'm just going to take 2 of the leaves and just hot glue them to the top, and then hot glue a pine cone right in the center, and that'll finish it off. And this one turned out super cute, and what a great way to use just something that you got, like from fall a couple of years back, and now you can use on any part of your decor for winter.
Eyes on the goal, don't lose control. I'm living fast, I lost my soul. I'm driving to get away. Running through emotions, high and low. Holding on to let it
To take this Dollar Tree Christmas sign, and I am going to cut each plank and separate them from each other. I am using my X-Acto knife and my yardstick. That way I can just cut right through it. And this material that Dollar Tree uses for their signs, it's just one where you can just score kind of, and then you just kind of keep, you'll see what I'm doing here, but it'll basically, you just kind of score it and you keep kind of bending it until you get a nice smooth edge.
going back to my old hometown, picking up the years I leave behind. Getting in my car, I drive as memories fly by. Driving by the fields I used to run through, where you were chasing me. We were riding out under the bleachers when no one could see. Oh, sweet memories of a town I loved, but oh, changed when you left.
All right, so now that I have all 3 pieces separated, I am going to fill in the holes with some wood filler, let it dry, and then I'm going to make some angled cuts on one end of each plank. That way I'll have arrows. I am going to measure or kind of mark where the center is, and then 2.5 inches on each side, and then that way I'll know what angle to kind of cut, and then also all of them will have the same angled cuts.
Keep on asking myself in my mind, were you the one that got away? Moved a few times but ended up in Nashville. Tried to settle my restless soul. Got a job that felt like forever when I met you. You made me happy, we danced through the night. Life was music and I was your wife. Time flies and the years went by, still I tried. Oh, sweet memories of a town I loved, but oh, changed when you left. I keep on asking myself in my mind, were you the one that got away? Went for the dream, but I got lost. This house I leave is nothing like us. Chased happiness, ended up on a one-way street. We're leading nowhere, that's why I leave. Past the creek where we used to swim, jump the fence before the summer begins, and getting cool in the summer heat with you, my sweet. Sitting in the back of your car, wishing for this road to take us far.
I am now going to take one of those larger paint stirring sticks that you can get at the hardware store. They're only 98 cents, and you can get like a pack of 3, but I do get mine on Amazon because I can get just a whole bunch all at once. So, and I do have them in my Amazon store if you're interested in purchasing them. I tell you what, to me, having that many with me at all times is just a time saver, and I don't have to keep running to the hardware store. But I'm just going to grab one of them here, and I'm going to stain them using the Rust-Oleum chalked glaze in the brown tone.
Now I've been way too long, I'm going home. Oh, sweet memories of a town I love, but oh.
While that is drying, I am now going to give each arrow 2 coats of Rust-Oleum chalk paint and the linen white. Using my Cricut, I cut 3 words. One says bonfire, the other one says hot cocoa bar, and the other one says ski lodge. And I'm just going to place them, making sure that I am placing them where 2 arrows are facing one way and 1 arrow is facing the opposite way.
Give me love, give me all your love, oh, 'cause I want you. No one else makes me feel this way, don't know what you do. Hold my hand, could you hold my hand, look me in the eyes. You and me, yeah, that's all I need, and I'll be alright.
I am now going to start placing them in an angled kind of position, and I'm just going to hot glue them. They are very light, so I do not need to do anything else but hot glue them, and that was perfectly fine.
Right here, I swear that I'll stay here with you. Hold me closer, I wanna stay here with you. All that we have is each other.
I should have distressed them before I glued them, but I completely forgot, so now I'm just going to distress them lightly on the edges. I just wanted to look a little bit more farmhouse rustic style, like they've been outdoors for a little bit.
Promise I won't leave your side. Be who you are and you'll be enough. If you're giving me your love, giving me your love. All that
So we're just about done with this one, and I gotta say, I think this is my favorite from today. I just love the way it turned out. It's so sturdy and it's just so beautiful. I love, love, love the way this one turned out.
is each other now. Promise you won't leave my side. I hope who I am is enough for you. If I'm giving you my love, giving you my love, love. Tell me what you wanna do, I'll do it.
Okay, so for this next DIY, I am going to take 2 of the Dollar Tree white little Christmas trees, and I am going to just flatten them out and separate the bristles, just kind of going sideways right now. I'm sure you've seen this done a million times before during the Christmas season, but basically I am going to do something for winter now. So I'm going to put both of them together right on top of each other and secure them with some floral wire.
Don't need someone to save me.
I am now going to take some Dollar Tree nautical rope and I am going to wrap the base of them together and secure it with hot glue.
Don't come running and blame me. From miles away, I can tell that something's off. The way you look and how you pause when you talk. I think I said enough. You said you love for me something brand new.
And now I am going to fluff all the bristles of both trees, and I'm not even going to think about which bristle is from which tree. I am going to treat it as one tree now, so I'm just going to start fluffing it away.
You said this is something you would never do. Here we are in your car. Let me see who you are.
I am now going to take this vase. I did thrift this vase. It's like a milk jug vase. I thrifted it at Habitat for Humanity, and I'm just going to press it right in there, and it was a perfect fit. I did not even have to hot glue it or anything. Once it was in there, now I'm going to start kind of pushing down, pulling down the branches so that instead of looking like a fluffy Christmas tree, it's looking more as a evergreen in winter with snow on it, where all the branches are kind of heavy going down. I then decided to start adding some of these frosted white berries pick. It was a large pick that I got at the Dollar General, and I'm just going to cut little branches off of it, and I'm going to just hot glue it everywhere that I see it needs a little something. The two top long portions, I thought I would leave them up, but then I decided to just go ahead and pull them down like you just saw me doing. That way it just looks like it's part of the other branches. I decided that it needed a little bit more of a darker tone contrast, so I got these branch picks. They're just regular branches, they're real branches. I thrifted a whole bunch of them a couple years back, and I still have many of them. I'm just going to grab a few pieces of them, and I'm just going to start hot gluing them in the same manner that I hot glued the frosted white berries. I'm just going to start placing them where I see where it would look natural.
All of the snow in this winterland used to look so pretty, now making me moody. In the deep woods, alone with my fields, spend too much time thinking. In the end, you'll be with me. Maybe I'm just getting it now. Time not to go little time out. Demons really catching up. Honey, what if there's no meaning? Oh, my heart is slowly bleeding. You said we still got today. Trust me that right now is all that matters.
You know you can get foam board at the Dollar Tree, and I've been loving working with foam board. It's just so much fun, and you can just create so many things. So what I'm doing here is something extremely simple anybody can do, and it's just some triangle trees. I've created several throughout the Christmas season, and these I decided to make more with a wintry farmhouse look. So I'm just going to cut this piece of leftover foam board to fit the larger triangle of the two. I'm going to make two of them, a larger and a smaller one. And as you can see, I'm just cutting, I think it was like 6 inches or 5 inches. I can't remember. But nonetheless, whatever size you want to create. And I'm just using my X-Acto knife from Artisa, and I'm just going to cut.
I would be up waiting for you if you had to leave. I would wait a lifetime if you.
Once I had both triangles cut to the size that I wanted, I'm going to use this Dollar Tree dusting mop, and I am going to just hot glue the piece of foam board right onto it. Basically, I just want to cover the front of the trees with this fuzzy white fabric that it has, and it just gives it a little bit of more of a wintry snow-like effect. And so it is kind of messy working with it, but in the end it gives you a great, beautiful look. So what I'm doing here is I'm just removing any excess, and then anywhere where a lot of the fuzzies came off and it was just a little too bare, no big deal. I'm just hot gluing some of the little fuzzies that fell. And then I'm just going to trim it, making sure it looks nice and groomed. And I'm going to do the same thing with the larger one.
I just wanna say that I feel that our love is real. Maybe we should hurry up and seal the deal.
Once I had the trees all trimmed and ready, I am now going to hot glue them to a couple of these Dollar Tree stems, and that's it. I mean, can you talk about easy? Anybody can make these. I mean, all the supplies were from the Dollar Tree. I absolutely love the way these turned out. So easy, so cool. And tell me what you think about these little trees. I wanted to place them first because I think it's like the easiest DIY out of all these 7. And I just wanted to start with something very simple that anybody can do with very minimal supplies. Alright, so for this next DIY, I am going to take one of these jars from the Dollar Tree and I'm going to remove the lid. I am now going to take this leftover knob from an old dresser that I work on, and I am going to hot glue it as well as E6000 it onto the center on the top. Once that is fairly dry, I am going to then start painting it using this Dixie Belle beautiful green tone in the kudzu green. I'll have their link down in the description box. It is beautiful. Dixie Belle sent me this paint, and I used it to redo a, what did I do? Oh, a little table, and then a couple other things here and there, but I just love the tone, and the coverage is phenomenal. So I'm just going to give it 1 coat. Actually, I think it was about 1.5. I just went back after the first coat was dry and just filled in a few little spots, but it didn't need much.
Too much time thinking, in the end you'll be with me. Maybe I'm just getting it now.
Alright, so while the lid is dry, I am going to take this little chalkboard. It used to have like a little like steak pick, like I just removed that. It's from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to hot glue it right to the front of the jar. And now I'm going to take some Dollar Tree jute twine and I'm going to wrap it around the top of the jar and making sure that it's not going to overlap where the lid is going to screw on. And that's it. I'm just going to make a very simple knot. I contemplated doing a little bow, but I think it just looks simpler and just nicer with a simple knot. Cut the excess. I'm going to add some of these beads just because I just love the tone of them. And I just have plenty of them. Now I'm going to place the lid and look how beautiful this jar looks. I mean, it could be used in the bathroom with cotton swabs or just whatever you want. And it's just beautiful. I love that green. You're going to see that green here a couple of more times. But I really love the way this turned out. Alright guys, so for this next DIY, I'm going to take this red truck Christmas sign from the Dollar Tree. I didn't use it in my Christmas DIYs, but I thought I'd use it to create more of a farmhouse truck. I removed the little string of berries that was strung around the tree, and I also sanded down the Merry Christmas words that were very glittery. And now I'm going to give it 3 coats of Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white.
Back to what used to be home, passing by those little towns I know so well, stopping for gas and then I'm behind the wheel again. Driving this like a spiritual cleanse, where every mile is a new beginning. beginning, and every bend holds a new end.
I decided to add a little bit of like snow-like, frost-like to the tires. No specific reason why, I just thought it would look cute. And then after that was done, I just wanted to use that same green just so that every one of my decors kind of tie in together. I will be adding the snow again with paint, but I just wanted it to lighten up that green. And then once everything was dry, it was time to add a little bit of dimension to the truck. So I thought about using some antiquing wax from our Waverly. And I'm just going to focus on the edges and create some dimension and details on the truck.
Eyes on the road, don't lose control. I'm speeding fast to chase my soul. I'm driving to get away. Running through emotions high and low. Holding on or letting go. I'm fighting another day. Neon lights in the fast lane life. Riding high, reaching for the sky. I had it all but lost and fell back down again. Spent my time playing the
And as I mentioned earlier, I'm just going to add the snow that was on the tree right back on it. You can still see where it was because it was a little bit glittery, and I painted right over it. So I knew exactly where it would go. And I'm just using the Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white. And then we'd be done with this one, guys. What a perfect way to reuse this red truck that I just didn't use in my Christmas decor and give it more of a farmhouse neutral neutral colors. I love, love, love.
game where every single day was a losing battle, and every drink was a dead end. Eyes on the goal, don't lose control. I'm living fast, I've lost my soul. I'm driving to get away. Running through emotions high and low.
Alright guys, so next DIY, I'm going to use this scrapped leftover leg from somewhere. I think it was part of a spindle. It wasn't a leg, it was a spindle from a old table that I redid and made it into a sign. And I kept them because, you know, I just always keep everything. I'm going to hot glue an E6000, a lid from a jar from the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to then give everything 2 coats of that kudzu Dixie Belle chalk paint.
Give me love, give me all your love, oh, 'cause I want you. No
Alright guys, so we're just about done with this one. Another easy one. So if you do not have a spindle like this one, you can find them all the time, either at the thrift store or at the Habitat for Humanities. Or you can just make your own spindle using different supplies. I love the way this one turned out. I love the color and how simple, you know, just using a lid for a candle. I added one of those tea little candles that have a good shape right on top, and it's from the Dollar Tree. Beautiful.
makes me feel this way. Don't know what you do. Hold my hand, could you hold my hand?
Alright, so for this next DIY, I am going to use this tag sign from our Christmas Dollar Tree stash that I never used. And I'm going to just flip it over and give the backside 2 coats of Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white because we're going to create a beautiful farmhouse sign.
Cigarettes on the table, dirty plates on the stove. I don't know if you know where to start, but I know where you'd like to be. I'm afraid that I've lost you, 'cause you're hiding from me.
Once it was dry, I am now going to use this leftover decal from the Dollar Tree. I love using these decals. If you have not used them yet, I highly recommend you use them. It is such a great way to add just phrases and words to signs and decor, and so inexpensive. If you don't have a cutting machine, this is a great way to go. So I have used this, this is just like I said, a portion of this decal. and it fit perfect, guys. I mean, talk about lucky, huh? I'm just going to place it towards the bottom side of the sign. And then once I have that in place, I am just going to start placing some greenery. This greenery is not from Dollar Tree. However, Dollar Tree does carry a lot of greenery that have those simple leaves similar to this one. This is just what I had on hand, but you can certainly use whatever greenery you may have or florals that you may have from the Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to hot glue them, not directly on the top, but more towards like the middle of the top, if that makes sense. And then I'm going to add a little loose multiple loop bow using jute rope. I got this on Amazon. Again, it's just what I had on hand, but you can certainly use jute twine from the Dollar Tree or even nautical rope from the Dollar Tree. I'm just making a very simple bow, and I'm going to hot glue it right to the center of the greenery.
Yeah, it shows that it's cost you a lot to be like the rest of us. To be like the rest of us. I've been waiting so long for.
And then to finish it off, I'm just going to add more of that jute rope and add it to, or thread it through the little hole. And that's something to be able to hang it from, although I'm not hanging it right as of yet, but I do want that as an option to hang it. And I think this sign turned out absolutely stunning. It has a very bright, just a fresh looking farmhouse style, and I just love the way it turned out.
I know that is in you. I know that is in you. Dancing away with the world in your eyes. Oh, goodbye, Virginia. Goodbye, Virginia.
All right, my friends, moving along here. So this next DIY, I'm going to use 4 of these Dollar Tree canvases, and I am going to remove the canvas fabric from it. Now, removing these staples is just, I can't stand it. So I started very motivated and removed all the staples and removed everything. And then after the first one, I was like, okay, I'm done. So I removed the fabric canvas, but I just didn't remove the staples on the back. So sorry about that, but I just didn't want to go through it. It really didn't need it to be removed. So now I'm going to place them all right next to each other to create a window-like, which is what we'll be creating. And I'm going to just hot glue each one to each other and then staple them using my staple gun. And that way it'll be nice and secure. And of course, I am stapling it on the back side. So where the old staples are at, back side. So that way when I flip it over, it'll be nice and seamless in the front. And there it is, a beautiful window form using these canvases frames. So beautiful. Now I am going to give it one coat, but it's going to be a pretty heavy coat of Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white.
Lost road, crossroad, ocean and sky. So searching, soul hurting, fire and ice. Raindrops, teardrops, a good old cry.
Alright guys, so now I am going to take this wreath form from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to just start putting some of those same leaf picks that I got on Amazon. I'm just going to not even hot glue them. I'm just going to kind of put them right in through that jute twine that is on there. That way I can save the wreath as well as the leaf picks and use them whenever I'm done with this decor. Again, I'm just going to place them all around, create a nice farmhouse style wreath. And I'm going to then add a screw onto the window so that I can hang the wreath from. And boy, did this turn out beautiful, guys. What a beautiful decor using mostly Dollar Tree items. But really, if you don't have these leaves, I mean, Dollar Tree has all kinds of greenery that you can use right on their wreath forms. And look how beautiful it turned out.
Daytime and nighttime, the light makes me blind. Life leaves scars. You're the only one with access to the backstage of my heart. We'll heal the broken parts. You walked this road before.
Alright guys, so for this next DIY, I'm going to use 3 of these foam balls from the Dollar Tree. Now, I got these during the Christmas season, but you can get these year-round in the craft floral section. So really, really cool ways. They have different sizes. I'm going to use two of the larger ones and then one medium-sized one. And I'm going to start by wrapping the first one using nautical rope strands. So what I do is I take the nautical ropes from the Dollar Tree. I separate all the strands. And when you separate them, you get these individual strands that look like a whole bunch of jute twine. And that's exactly what I want this first ball to have, that look. I'm just going to, very easy, just keep going around and around, hot gluing it until the entire thing is covered. For this next ball, I am going to use a mop. I thought about using yarn, but it would have taken me a lot longer. So I think mop did the job. This is from Dollar Tree, a mop that is very simple to remove its strands from. And I'm going to do the same technique. Start very small on the top and then work my way around, hot gluing as I go.
Look out, here she comes, the woman that I love. It's too bad she'll never know. Yeah, I can't tell her how I feel, because she has someone who makes her happy. I'm a ghost in these walls, or at least I try to be. 'Cause I hope that I'm not showing how I feel for her.
And for the final ball, I am going to use some moss. Recently, I created some Christmas decor using moss and I loved it. So I thought it would be really cool to add one more ball using the moss. And again, staying with that fresh green farmhouse style that I've been going with. And same kind of style, I am just going to keep hot gluing section by section, placing the moss. And then towards the end, you just kind of want to just play with the ball. Just press it, making sure, almost like a snowball. You just want to pack it in there so that moss is as packed as possible. And then that's it for that one, guys. Another beautiful, so easy DIY that anybody can make using Dollar Tree items.
Sunny day in late July, and everything turned upside down. I almost lost track of time as weeks went by. I couldn't get him off my mind. I told him I want that great love, like standing in the middle of a bonfire. You don't know how you got there, but you hold tight, knowing that you can't get burned. Just tell me how we lost track of everything but each other. I honestly don't know. And tell me how we messed up, drifting away from each other. Didn't want to let you go. Cause we wanted different things, and I have to deal with it, but it's not easy. So tell me how to let go, cause you really seem to know how to carry on your own. Ever since I got a good look in his eyes, I just knew that he was special. He said he wanted to take it slow, but I couldn't help that I wanted to take it to the next level, cause I wanted that
8
great
painter sticks. These are the regular size ones. I get these in bulk on Amazon, but you can certainly get them at the hardware store. You can get, I think it's like a little pack of like maybe 6 or 5 of them for 98 cents. Very, very inexpensive. So I'm going to line up 8 of them next to each other, but I'm going to alternate that little curved part, one going up, one going down. That way they're not all on one side. And then I am going to take 2 other ones and I am going to measure and cut so that they fit perfectly going across each or across the painter sticks. And I'm going to hot glue them, one on the top and one at the bottom.
You say take me on a treasure hunt. I long for something new. Have you heard the fairies when they sing and dance? Oh, I wish it was me every night. When I close my eyes, I see beauty lives in me. I know
Next, I am going to take this leftover canvas, like the fabric that's on the canvas, and I am going to cut off the parts where it's all broken and folded. And now I am going to cut shapes of leaves. There is no right or wrong way, guys. Seriously, I just want to cut them to where they have the shape of a leaf. And I'm going to cut right about, I would say 10 or 12, give or take. And I'm going to cut some larger ones than other ones.
So I trust you when you say that beauty lives in me too.
Once I have them cut, I am now going to make a slit right on the bottom of the leaf. I'm going to try, when you cut them, try to leave one end flat instead of pointy. So once you cut a slit, then you're just going to crisscross them just like that and hot glue them so that they have so they're a little bit lifted. And you're going to do that to all of them.
Later it comes later, dear, for many of us. I promise you that we learn through the wrongs and even the rough.
Now I am going to kind of fold them back. So you see what I'm doing? Just kind of bring the top a little bit back so they sit flush with the board. And I am going to here just kind of dry fit the larger ones. So I'm going to start with the larger ones and move up to the smaller ones. And I'm going to start with 4 and then, I'm sorry, not 4, 5, and then move on to 4 and then move on to 3, that kind of thing.
Can be sweet. Just close your eyes and know beauty lives in me. I know I don't yet know it, so I trust you when you say that beauty lives in me It's gonna take some time to get there. I don't care, I don't care. I'm in for the fight. It's gonna take some time.
Taking the leftover pieces of canvas, I'm just going to cut a circle to fit right in the center of the flower, hot glue it in the center. And then I'm just going to add some nautical rope to the back so that we can hang it. And that's it. How simple, how easy. And it took me, I want to say, maybe about 6-7 minutes. And that's just because I had a couple mishaps with glue where I got burned and it spilled. Other than that, it really is a quick 5-minute DIY. I love the way this one turned out.
Beauty lives in me. I know I don't yet know it, so I trust you when you say that beauty lives in me too. Beauty lives in me. I know I don't yet know it, so I trust you when you say.
Alright, so for this next DIY, I'm going to take one of these little tea candle glass holder, and then a one of those very almost like V-shaped candles. They are beautiful. I have never found these or saw these at Dollar Tree. Recently saw them and I grabbed a couple. And I'm going to flip over the tea candle holder, and I'm going to add some E6000 and hot glue, and then hot glue it to the bottom of the candle. I am now adding a few little evergreen picks, not evergreen. These are like frosted, almost like boxwood picks. I got several of them at the Dollar General for $1. You see the little bundle there. And I'm just going to take a couple of the little branches and hot glue them to the bottom or underneath the candle. And I'm also going to add a little tiny white flower from some flowers that I don't even know where they came from, but they were there. And I think this candle holder turned out absolutely adorable, and it could be added to any style of decor. for this next DIY, I am going to take this Dollar Tree glass vase and I'm just going to give it 2 coats of Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white. And I'm going to speed up the process, I am going to use my heat gun to dry it in between.
Soul, hurt, and fire and ice. Raindrops, teardrops, a good old cry. Daytime and nighttime, the light makes me blind. Life leaves scars. You're the only one with access.
I am now going to take this Dollar Tree decal number. I'm going to take number 1, but if you're going to recreate something like this, you can certainly use any number you want. I'm just going to place it right in the center in the front of the vase. And then I'm going to add some greeneries that I have had for a while that I got on Amazon. And that's it for this one. Just another easy, super beautiful DIY that anyone can make. I also want to remind you that I do have an Instagram account that I post daily, guys, sometimes multiple times a day, little snip clips of videos, behind the scenes look, and I'd love to connect with you there. I do have the link down in the description box as well. All right, for this next DIY, I am going to take this canvas, but this one is on like the flat ones, the real thin ones. I'm just going to need one of them, and I'm not going to do anything to it, but I am going to take this butterfly welcome sign that I have had since the summer, and I never used it. I am going to remove the butterfly and save the welcome for another DIY.
Find the remedy, or would you stay with me now till the morning light?
Once I have the butterfly, or I took out the top butterfly as you saw, I'm going to keep this one just like is. I'm just going to kind of fold the leaves, or not the leaves, the wings a little bit upwards so that way it has like a 3D effect. And I'm going to hot glue it to the bottom right of the canvas.
Your mind that I'm nowhere to find. I'm standing right here.
To the remaining part of the butterfly, I'm going to remove the little sticks that were in the back, and I am going to give it 2 coats of Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the charcoal tone. And again, to speed up the process, I am going to use my heat gun to dry it in between coats. Once it was dry, I am now going to fold the wings again just a little upward so that they have more of a 3D effect, and hot glue the top butterfly to the bottom one. I am now going to take this Dollar Tree decal and I am going to just use the bottom floral section, and I am going to place them kind of like if they're coming right from behind the butterfly going upwards, and I'm going to use both of them. And to finish things off, I'm just going to add more nautical rope to the back of this one so that we can hang it as well. And that's it for this one. Such an easy one. I love the black and white look, and it's so beautiful. I also want to let you know that I do have a second channel, Beauty on Purpose at Home, and I'd love to connect with you there as well. I post once a week, blogs, home inspiration, hauls, decorate with me, that kind of stuff. All right, for this next DIY, I am going to use one of these beautiful jars. It has such a beautiful, unique shape. I'm going to remove the lid and I'm going to place one of these glass knobs. I always keep these on hand. I get them on Amazon. And guys, I do have a lot of these supplies in my Amazon store, which is linked down in the description box. I'm going to use a 6000 and hot glue to secure it to the top of the lid. I am now going to take another one of those decal numbers. This time I'm going to take number 4, and I'm going to place it right in the front, but towards the bottom right of the jar. And now I am going to take some jute twine from the Dollar Tree, wrap it around the base of the jar, making sure that I do not overlap where the lid is going to screw in, and make a simple knot in the front. And that's it. This one is by far probably the easiest, but is probably the most beautiful. I don't know. There's something about that glass knob that I used on top, and just leaving it simple. This could be used in the bathroom. This could be used in the kitchen. It can be used in a bedroom to store just whatever, scrunchies, whatever you may need it for. Is just so, so beautiful and so easy. I am using only decals from the Dollar Tree. So this time around, I am not using my Cricut because I figured I'd show you how you can use these $1 decals from the Dollar Tree and make them into beautiful decor. So for the first one, I am taking a 22-inch board that I cut. It was a little longer. It was a piece of scrap board that my husband had in the basement because we're kind of fixing our basement. And so I grabbed it and I cut this piece. And I'm going to use this decal from the Dollar Tree with this beautiful, it says, "Do not worry about anything, instead pray about everything." It's one of my favorite scriptures, and I think the design is absolutely beautiful. So basically, the way you work these decals is you just take off like a sticker and place them like a sticker. You just want to make sure that whatever board you're working on, for sure is going to fit it. That way, it's just a lot easier. Once you have everything placed where you want it, if you do need to move some things here and there, you can, and it'll still stick. I am going to place a couple screws right on top. In addition to showing you how you can use these Dollar Tree decals, I am also going to give you several ideas on how you can create the signs, materials to use, how to hang them, and that kind of thing. So this first one, I am going to screw a couple screws 3 inches in from each side. And then I am going to simply take one of those little chains that you can find at the Dollar Tree there to hang baskets out in the summer. I am going to use one of them, remove the little hook from the end, and then I am going to use that and tighten as I can so that it is nice and snug and it will not come off. I use these little chains all the time, and I love the way they look.
I didn't throw your stuff away before you make up your mind that I'm nowhere to find. I'm standing right here. I know that I told you we're over. I swear that I'm sober. Just listen.
I'm going to now take some florals. These are some florals from a combination of Dollar General as well as some, the pink one is one I got on Amazon, but I'm just going to use a few of them. I'm going to tie them together in the center using some jute twine from Walmart, and then hot glue it to the top of the sign right inside where the, right in the center, right in the middle on the top. And that's it, guys. This one was so easy to do, and it's beautiful. This design is absolutely stunning, and I think these decals are just so easy to work with. Anyone can do it.
And I know that I said all these things, but now when you're with her, I can see that you miss me. Would you stay till the morning light, or would you follow me, or would you let it be? If I leave tonight, we could do this right. We'll find the remedy, or would you stay with me now till the morning light, till the morning light, till the morning light, till the morning light, yeah.
All right, this next sign, I am going to use these painter sticks that you can purchase at any hardware store. I do get mine in bulk from Amazon, which turned out to be very inexpensive. I am going to use, let's see, it's about 9 of them. And then I'm going to use 2 of them going horizontally. I'm going to mark them and then cut them using my shears, and then hot glue them in each end to create a board.
Going back to my old hometown, picking up the years I leave behind. Getting in my car, I drive as memories fly by. Driving by the fields I used to run through, where you were chasing me. We were riding out under the bleachers when no one could see. Oh,
And now I am going to give it 2 coats of Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white.
sweet memories of a town I loved, but oh, changed when you left. I keep on asking myself in my mind, were you the one that got away? Moved a few times but ended up in Nashville. Try to settle my restless.
Once it was dry, I'm now going to use this decal from the Dollar Tree. It says wash, dry, fold, repeat. I thought it would be super cute for any laundry. I don't have a formal laundry. I mean, we do, but it's just not very pretty right now. One day we'll fix it up, but I think if this would be great to put in any laundry, and I might use it to give it as a gift. So basically, same concept. You're just gonna, take them. One thing that I learned using these through the months, through the years, is that if you're not sure where to place them, you don't have to press them, right away. You can just kind of place them gently. They won't stick much at all. And that way you can kind of see where you want to put all of them at, and then move as you need, and then press them down and really stick them. So again, very easy to work with. And like here, I put the dry before the bundle of clothes, and it should have been the other way around. So I just removed it and switched it, and it works actually fine.
Got a job that felt like forever when I met you. You made me happy, we danced through the night. Life was music and I was your wife. Time flies and the years went by, still I tried.
All right, so for this one, I am going to use a jute twine to hang it, and I'm just going to drill a couple holes on the top of the sign and then thread the jute twine through, knot it, and that's how we will hang this one. Again, such a very simple, very inexpensive supplies, and that Dollar Tree decal, how beautiful is that?
Sweet memories of a town I loved, but oh, changed when you left. I keep on asking myself in my mind, were you the one that got away? just to swim. Jump the fence before the summer begins, and getting cool in the summer heat.
My friends, I do want to encourage you to join our email list because I will be starting to send out monthly free printables to everyone that joins our email list. That way it would just be easy to just send it directly to your inbox. Sometimes it would be one, sometimes it could be a couple, or maybe even multiple. But if you want to join that email list, just go ahead and check out the link down in the description box. For this next sign, I am going to use this leftover Christmas sign from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to flip it over. I removed the ribbon, and now I'm going to give it 2 coats of Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white. And this is going to be a very choppy 2 coats. I'm not looking for perfection because I want it to have a distressed look. Once it was dry, I gently sanded it over with a 120 grit sandpaper and then dusted it. Because it already has that plank look on the sides, I decided to go ahead and just draw lines going across and highlight that plank look. I am now going to take another laundry themed decal from the Dollar Tree, and I am going to place it horizontally on the board. So basically this one says laundry room, and then it has a whole list of things to do that you're not going to do. It's really cute. I really like this one. So I decided to cut. That's another wonderful thing about these decals is you can cut as you need it to fit the board that you have available. So in this case, I'm going to cut several of them, and I'm going to place them one in the center on the top and then 2 on each side, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But again, very easy to work with. So these little bundles of fabric I do get at Walmart, and they have several styles in each bundle, and they have about, I think it's like a quarter of a yard, and it's really cool, some really cool prints. So I'm going to use this one to hot glue it on the back. That way it doesn't have that Santa design, although it's pretty. It just doesn't go with the black and white theme here. So I'm just going to cut a piece, hot glue it to the back, and then trimming the edges with an X-Acto knife. That way it'll be nicely trimmed and groomed around it. And look how cute it looks. And now it just looks clean and looks professional. So even if I wanted to gift it to somebody, it looks like it just, you know, professional. So now I'm just going to poke here, find the holes, and just poke a hole all the way through. I'm going to use a leftover chain from that chain that we used earlier. And at this time, I'm going to use 2 of the hooks and hook it there. Now, when I hooked them up, it just was a little bit too long. So I ended up removing some links and then moving the hook a little further down. And that way it was a little bit more appropriate sized for the board. And that's it for this one, guys. Another beautiful one and so easy to make.
Tell me what you wanna do. I'll do anything. As long as I can be here with you, everything's alright. I'll be right here. I swear that I'll stay here with you. Hold me closer. I wanna
All right, so for this next sign, I am going to use another one of those boards. This is part of that same board I used in the first sign. This is just part of the leftover. And it's around the same size, and I'm just going to give it another rough one coat of Rust-Oleum chalk paint and the linen white. And then once again, sanded it down with a 220 grit sandpaper, this time just focusing more on the edges. Once I was done with that, I am now going to take this Dollar Tree decal. It says, "Let your dreams take flight," which is beautiful. And this is going to be a really good example of me just kind of placing it lightly. And then until I have the other one placed in place, and that way I can move it as needed. What a beautiful, beautiful color gold tone. And I am using a lot of white because these decals just look great against that white. But I think any of these and any other color, lighter color, I think will look great. Like maybe like a light pink or a baby blue will look very beautiful as well. So now that I have it where I need it to be, I'm just going to press it down. And in this one, I am going to have these little eye hooks on the board. So I'm just going to screw a screw on the sides, just about a ½ inch from the top, and then unscrew it back out. That's just to give me a nice hole so that I can screw in the eye hooks. And then I am going to take a small screwdriver to help me out because it does get tight there. And that way it'll be all the way in. And I'll do that on the same side as well, or on the other side as well.
Take me on a treasure hunt. I long for something new. Have you heard the fairies when they sing and dance? Oh, I wish it was me every night.
I am now going to take some more of that jute twine from Walmart. You can also use the jute twine from Dollar Tree. This is just what I have on hand. Walmart has a larger quantity and it's pretty inexpensive, so I do like to buy it there. I'm just going to thread it through each eye hook, and then I'm just going to tie it on the top, and it's going to have like a double jute twine hanging rope, and I think it looks super cute. Another beautiful, beautiful design with that Dollar Tree decal.
When I close my eyes, I see beauty lives in me. I know I don't yet know it, so I trust you when you say that beauty lives in me too.
Alright guys, so this next sign, I am going to use this Dollar Tree canvas, and I am going to use some foam board from the Dollar Tree as well. I am going to use the canvas here to kind of measure out and be able to know where I want to cut using my X-Acto knife. Basically what I want to create is a kind of like a base, and to create a little bit more, a larger sign, or give the illusion of a larger sign, and also create like a border. So I'm just going to cut it to size, and the more exact the cut, the better and the nicer the sign's going to look. I'm going to use Waverly chalk pen. This is in the tone ink, and I'm just going to paint just about 1 to 2 inches on each side and let it dry. I am now going to take the canvas. I'm not going to paint it or anything. I love the tone, the natural tone it had. I'm just going to place hot glue on all the edges and then hot glue it right on top.
Heading back to what used to be home, passing by those little towns I know so well, stopping for gas and then I'm behind the wheel again.
I am now going to take this Hello Sunshine decal from the Dollar Tree, and once again just place it evenly on the board, and that's it for this one. I'm going to add a small jute twine on the back with hot glue just to show you another way that you can hang these boards, especially like this one, which is very, very lightweight. And what a beautiful board, what a beautiful sign that you can place anywhere in your home.
Give me love, give me all your love, oh, 'cause I want you. No one else makes me feel this way. Don't
start with these 4 boards here. It used to be a longer one, and I cut them to what would be almost a square, but not quite. It's a little bit of rectangle, but it'll work for what I needed. So I'm just going to give them a quick sand here and make sure that they're nicely dusted. And then to start painting, I am going to give them one pretty heavy coat of Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white.
Find the remedy, or would you stay with me now till the morning light? Before you turn away, I just want you to know that I didn't throw your stuff away.
And once the paint was dry, I am now going to distress them, basically focusing on the edges using a 220 grit sandpaper and my hand sander.
Make up your mind that I'm nowhere to find. I'm standing right here.
Using my Cricut, I cut out the word home in capital letters, and I also assigned them the appropriate numeric number. Yeah, numeric number. As I would be on a Scrabble game. So you've seen these Scrabble tiles, right? The ones that you can put on the wall, you can spell out names, and they look very cute. I've never done them myself, so I thought I'd give them a try, but I'm going to give them a spin that's a little different. So I'm just going to start placing them right on the tiles. Alright, so to hang them, I am going to give them little hooks to connect to each other. So I am going to measure here 1.5 inches from the outside and of each tile. Now, on the top letter, it's going to be only on the bottom of the letter, and on the bottom letter is only going to be on the top of the tile. Now, the 2 middle tiles are going to have them on both the top and the bottom. And now I am using a screw to just screw it in and screw it right back out just to create a little hole. And then I'm going to be able to just screw in the little hooks that I believe I got on Amazon, but I could be wrong. Maybe I did get them at the hardware store, but you can find them anywhere. These are white, but you can find them in black as well as stainless steel. So what I am doing is the little hooks that are on top, I am going to face them front and back, so no sideways. So kind of like front to back. Now the ones that are on the bottom, I'm going to set them to where they're sideways, just like that. That way they can connect to each other nicely. And this is where it all makes sense. You see how they connect because 1 or 2 of them are facing one way and the other one the other way. And that way they just connect nicely. So on the top one, I am going to add a claw hook, and that's where it would hang. And that's it. Isn't this like a super easy DIY? You need a few tools, but nothing very intimidating. I did use my miter saw to cut the tiles, but if you have foam board, you can create them with foam board. You can use this to inspire you in so many ways, but I love using my tools and wood, so this was a perfect project for me. All right, so for this next DIY, so simple, guys. Anyone can make this. I'm going to use these jumbo crafting sticks that I got at Walmart. They come a whole bunch for like, I want to say it was like $3. And I am going to use several here. I am going to take 3, and then a 4th one, I am going to crisscross, hot gluing them together. That way it'll be nicely secure. And I'm just making sure that the stick that is across actually stays within the 3. So I'm making sure that the circle part kind of matches with the top and the bottom. I'm going to create another one with 3, and then I'm going to create 2 of them with just 2.
Going back to my old hometown, picking up the years I leave behind. Getting in my car, I drive as memories fly by. Driving by the fields I used to run through, where you were chasing me. We were riding out under the bleachers when no one could see.
So what I want to create with these little panels now, I am going to create a very farmhouse style floral vase. So I'm going to take this scrap piece of foam board. This is just so that the florals that I add does not go all the way through, and it also acts a little bit more for stability for the vase. So I'm just going to hot glue it just about, I don't know, maybe about 1.5 inches from the bottom. Now this one here, some of the craft sticks were a little bowed, so I did have to take a piece of another one and just hot glue it on top just to add or to keep them straight. But that's it. I just only had it to add it to that one. And then I am going to hot glue all of the sides, making it a nice sturdy vase. And I'm also going to hot glue all the edges to each other, and that way it kind of brings it all together.
Sweet memories of a town I loved, but oh, changed when you left. I keep on asking myself in my mind, were you the one that got away? Moved a few times but ended up in Nashville. Tried to settle my restless soul. Got a job that felt like forever when I met you. You made me happy, we danced through the night. Life was music and I was your wife. Time flies and the years went by.
Once everything was dry and all together, it's time to give it one pretty heavy coat of Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white. And once the paint was dry, I am now adding some antiquing wax. This is by Waverly in their brown tone. I'm just adding them here and there just to add a little bit of dimension and a distressed look. I am now going to wrap jute twine all around. I want this to look like the jute twine is kind of holding together these wooden sticks, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to wrap it around twice and make a very simple knot in the front.
Jump the fence before the summer begins, and getting cool in the summer heat with you, my sweet. Sitting in the back of your car.
And now I'm going to add these grassy florals that I got on Amazon, really inexpensive, and I use them all the time. I love how bright and how versatile they are. And this little vase turned out so adorable.
Everything turned upside down. I almost lost track of time as weeks went by. I couldn't get him off my mind. I told him I want that great love, like standing in the middle of you hold tight, knowing that you can't get burned.
So for this next DIY, I am going to take 2 of the canvases from the Dollar Tree and remove the canvas from both of them. Once I had the frames all set, I am going to hot glue them together long ways. So I'm going to create like a long frame for this next DIY. Once I have them hot glued, I am going to turn them around and staple them for more stability. And then I am going to give it 1 coat of Waverly chalk paint in their ink tone.
Heading back to what used to be home, passing by those little towns I know so well, stopping for gas and then I'm behind the wheel again. Driving this like a spiritual cleanse, where every mile is a new beginning and every bend holds a new end. Eyes on the road, don't lose control. I'm speeding fast to chase my soul. I'm driving to get away.
Once the paint was dry, I am going to add some crafting chicken wire. This is very flexible, a lot easier to work with than the real chicken wire from the hardware store. And I'm going to staple it in place and then cut the excess so that I have a nice fit to the frame. And then I am going to make sure that anything that is sticking out that would scratch or cut anything or anyone, I'm going to make sure that I fold them inwards, and that way they're not sticking out. And then I decided to add this ribbon. This is actually not ribbon. This is actually part of a Dollar Tree hat that I pulled apart several months ago for DIYs that I did then. And I'm just going to have whatever I have left over. I'm just going to wrap it or hot glue it to the front of the frame. This will give it just some texture that I just kind of wanted it to have. And yeah, I'm just going to hot glue it, and then I'm going to paint the ribbon black as well.
Running through emotions high and low, holding on or letting go. I'm fighting another day. Neon lights in the fast lane light, riding high, reaching for the sky. I had it all but lost and fell back down again. Spent my time playing the game where every single day was a losing battle and every drink was a dead end. Eyes on the goal, don't lose control. I'm living fast, I've lost my soul. I'm driving to get away, running through emotions high and low, holding on or letting go. I'm fighting another day.
And now it's time to add some florals. I'm just going to make a little swag here for the top of the frame using Dollar General florals as well as some Dollar Tree frosted grassy picks. And I'm going to secure it in the middle with some jute twine, wrap it around, secure it with hot glue, and then I'm just going to hot glue it to the top of the frame. In that way, it just adds a very, I don't know, maybe farmhouse, modern farmhouse look to it. I really love the way this turned out. It's a perfect place to add pictures. I will be adding some mini clothespins to it. You can put notes on here. I just think it's perfect for a small little wall area that may be needing some wall decor. Alright, so for this next DIY, I am going to use this jar from the Dollar Tree and this tape as well from the Dollar Tree. I removed the lid from the jar, and I'm now going to place the tape in random shape, but it all turned out to be kind of like an X form. And basically what I'm trying to do here, I'm going to paint the jar in that black ink tone paint from Waverly, and I want to be able to remove the tape and then have the clear glass show through. When I painted it black, it actually painted very well, except I should have done 2 coats. At first, I thought it was sufficient because it looked dark enough, but in the end, after I had already removed the tape, I realized that I'm going to put little lights inside to light it up. It was not enough. I should have done 2 coats. So if you're going to redo something like this or recreate something like this, my suggestion is to do 2 coats. I should have done it, but once I removed the tape, it would have been very difficult to kind of like match this design. So I just left it as is, but just, you know, live and learn kind of thing. I did get some bleed through, so I did have to clean that up with a wet rag. I wrapped some jute twine at the top of the jar, wrapped it around a few times, made a simple knot in the front. And then I added the lights that I mentioned earlier. They are from the Dollar General. They're $5 and a good size of them. You get 30 lights. They're battery operated. And at first I thought I could just put them in just like this, like they came out of the package. But I did have to remove the tie and just put them all in. But no big deal. It worked out in the end and it looked absolutely stunning. I added this frosted greenery picks that I have had for a while, and they just look absolutely stunning. Again, I wish I would have done 2 coats, but overall, I'm very pleased with the way it turned out. Okay, guys, so this is it for today. I know it's a lot of content, but I would love to know which one of these DIYs stood out to you the most. Was it a sign? I know I made several signs from the Dollar Tree, or just whatever else. Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. If you are visiting for the first time, I hope you consider subscribing. And if you are returning, thank you so much for coming back. I truly appreciate your time. I'm going to have a playlist here with tons more of mega videos just like this one. Check it out if you'd like. I'll see you later. Be blessed. Bye.